Is this a dream? I mean, to be fair, we don't know a lot about Hitomi. Is Hitomi a wish? I mean, a witch? God damn, why do I keep saying wish instead of witch? Oh no, it's the witch wish. Damn it. I'm doing it all over them. The witch thing. Like when that woman was gonna jump off the roof and kill herself. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stone Face Reactions. I'm Theta, and we are back with another episode of Madoka Magica. Before anything else, we have stuff to handle from episode 3, which is, first off, another note from Henry. From the Patreon, from the episode I'm Not Afraid of Anything Anymore. Thanks for following my suggestion, lol. You'll understand later why I said it. You already have some solid theories, but that knowledge could just make it too obvious where the show is going. Regarding the witch's runes, the letters are made up and never explained, so you're not really supposed to know what it says. Yet the text has been deciphered by fans, and it is also German. A lot of it is simply spelling out the name of the witch of the episode. This one was Charlotte. The last one featured was Gertrude. And then there's a little bit of bonus information. Like at 13:17, it is explained that Charlotte loves cheese. Is Charlotte a mouse? It's kinda interesting, but not essential by any means. You can read it all on the Madoka Magica wiki, but please wait until after you finish the series. Well, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be going around reading the wiki if I was trying to, solve the mystery, right? This is so many conversations I have with Lessons, where Lessons will spoil himself or something by going out and reading the wiki. I think it was Gundam Seed, where he's like, oh yeah, this character is actually this one's mom and dad. And it's like, how do you know that? It's like, oh, I read it on the wiki. I thought you already knew, so I didn't think it was a spoiler. It's like, we didn't know that. It's never been introduced. I'm not out here trying to spoil myself. I would think, by anybody hearing my notes section, that I'm not out here trying to sound smart either. How often do I get stuff wrong? How many of my notes are just 100% off of the mark? This is just me enjoying the show and trying to figure it out. The closest I get to it, which other people have noted might not be great, is when I go to Behind the Voice Actors, a website, specifically to get the board images to put up on the board to make the character relation stuff. Because people will point out that sometimes character names are meant to be hidden, and getting their faces and whatnot from behind the voice actors also kind of spoils that. I don't think that's the case here in this show, but I'm just kind of putting out there where my line in the sand kind of is. I'm not going to go out of my way to Google up what is this character's relationship to this character? What's the theme behind this, At the same time, I will look up song meanings or stuff in the background, except for in this particular case where Henry has advised me not to, so I haven't. Otherwise, yeah. I don't know. Very confused by the element that the information in the show was not defined by the show. In this case, a made-up language that then translates to German. I would want to know more about Charlotte, if that's the implication, but then again, I guess I don't need to because she's dead. Literally, all of this extra stuff is for a character that typically dies in the episode it's introduced in, so I guess not actually important. Anyway, we do have a board and a board changelog. As for the board changelog, marked Mammy as dead, because of course she did, I'm assuming. And I added Kamiju. Unfortunately, when we're about to get into my notes, which is next, I'm going to make a really big mistake in the first note, and you'll find out how, by the end of the note, why I'm super wrong. I'm actually surprised I didn't mention anything about Sayaka's mom before in my previous notes. Obviously, Sayaka flashed back to her when considering that she didn't have the kind of life she needed to wish for anything. Which made very little sense in context, and come to find out that she only said that because she is questioning whether you could use a wish for somebody else. I took that for granted that you could, so the fact it was a question for her puts that whole inner turmoil into place. Also, the CD she gives her mom said, so what does it say? Dod Ostruk? Well, best guess is that is David Ostruk, a Soviet-Russian violinist and conductor. I assume her mother was also at one point a violinist, as it seems she's mimicking playing along with him when listening to the CD, despite being unable to. Last, a note about the CD. I paused just before she hits the play button to try and translate the text on the CD. None of it meant anything, as far as I could tell. That or the translation was done poorly. One last note that'll make the rest of this note seem that much stupider. They name drop the person in the hospital as Kamuju, which is apparently a boy's name. So everything I just said about that being her mother now looks super dumb. I think the implication is that that is the guy that she flashes back to when she is a child in the seats watching the violinist play. And for some reason in my mind, that was Sayaka and her mother and father watching David play, and that her mother was so enamored by him that that's why she was crying. But that's not her mother. In fact, that seems to be Kamujo. And he's remembering back to his days as a violinist. And I got it all wrong. Just 100% wrong. I cannot figure out people. My face blindness is now coming into play. Just a note, Madoka is carrying around a cat in the opening. A cat that we haven't seen before. More than that, though, they point out that they've been fighting nothing but familiars lately. Famously, in media, the most common form of familiar for a witch is a cat. So, feels like there could be something here. KUB is a predator. I said it all during last reaction, and it's carrying over into these notes. It shows up when you need it and grants you a wish. It seems pretty well implied that the wish has a consequence that Akemi is trying to warn Madoka away from. Even Mami warns against making wishes for others, or, less dramatically, says that making the wish was at least better than dying. Not a great level to compare a wish to. It just very much feels like Wishmaster, if any of you have ever seen that movie. I feel like they focus on shadows a lot. I thought it was odd that frequently characters have multiple shadows under them, but that just seems like tricks of what the scene's lighting is, and I didn't mention it before because it feels dumb. At the same time, I swear specific shots are designed to draw attention to it. So I guess it's something I'll keep an eye out for. Maybe like if some characters are missing a shadow or have more or less shadow than others. I guess QB is a guy, according to Mami's statement. But also Mami says girls hate guys that pressure them. But I'm reminded of the conversation with the mom where she encourages a straightforward dating approach. Feels like a conflicting message. QB says the sooner the better for them about making the wish. Then tells Madoka later, I'm not really in a position to pressure you. Likewise, they say that suggestions are against the rules too. Then tells her she could be better than Mammy based on her wish, which feels like a suggestion to me. When Mammy turns her soul gem into a ring, the letters on it are in that fake script that the witches' names are in, implying some connection between magical girls and the witches beyond just their fight with one another. This witch is nothing like the ones you fought. Nothing like the ones you fought so far, Akemi says. I'll be honest, the witch in familiar stuff is so freaky and insane that I wouldn't even be able to begin to guess what makes any of them different from one another. This all looks like a bad LSD trip. They could be fighting someone's backpack or an oncoming bus, for all I know. The logo that was on the barrier and plastered all over the labyrinth, I'm not sure what to make of it. Obviously, my first thought is that it looks like QB, but the more I look at it, the more I think it kinda looks like Mammy. Like her hair tassels and whatnot. Obviously, that makes no sense because she died there, and I'd guess maybe that it was a farce, if not for the fact that Akemi ends it all, so it's not that either. So, like I said, not sure what to make of it. Also, we get Mammy's internal monologue, so unless she's lying to herself, I guess she really is dead. Also, obviously, they talk about wishing for cake, and when Mammy transforms, the background is a giant cake. It's interesting that Akemi doesn't go after Kyobi at the end, especially with no one left that could stand in her way. Although, I guess now that I think about it, if Akemi had gone after Kyobi, one of them could have made a wish and then stood in her way. And if she's very specifically trying to avoid causing Madoka to make a wish, then she wouldn't want to be the inspiration to do that. But at the same time, you've got to stop Kyobi from granting her a wish before she can. And ideally, wishing Mammy back might be a wish that she would make. So either way, it feels like you've got to do something here, and she does nothing, which is the confusing element to me. One day the light of love in your eyes will transcend time and destroy one of this world's dreams as it spirals towards the apocalypse. What is it that you seek now that you're done hesitating? Is there a glimpse of hope for tomorrow beyond this greedy admiration? Again, the new ending of the show, and its lyrics that still make me think that we might be in a time loop. And I don't know what this greedy admiration is, because it seems like the animation of the ending is Madoka marching forwards. Well, that could be the same thing. As she walks past the figures of her friends, I have to assume that the ones that will die, or they are the ones that will die, as Mammy is among them. It looks like the figure of Akami is the only one to turn and try and reach out before she goes running into the darkness from the light. Let's see. We, of course, record this live, and we have a chat, and somebody in the chat says, did you read the OP lyric? Yeah, sorry, we're currently in the note section, and in previous note sections, yeah, my notes from episode 1. Yeah, my notes from episode 1, I did a whole breakdown of the opening song lyrics, and in that, I was relating it to the possibility of a time loop being the theme of the show. Let's see here. How long will it be before I see that lost future again? I'll walk upon this earth and pierce the shadowy veil of unease as many times as necessary. The clock that ticked away now tells of the beginning. My heart started racing once again to paint the future. Even if I get stuck in a maze, the beautiful blue sky will always be waiting for me. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm reading out the lyrics that I had specifically noted before in my episode 1 notes. I obviously do another breakdown of why I think those refer to a time loop and trying to break out of it. That'll be in the episode 2 video once that ever comes out. Once that ever comes out. I think it's literally hitting YouTube either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. So I know I have a Link Click and Madoka Magica both scheduled to come out one day apart from each other. What wish would you do if you met Hyobi? Well, sorry, this is another conversation I've kind of already had about the pragmatism of wishes, but also the nature of wishes, which is to say that depending on what scenario you're in, right? Are you in a Wishmaster scenario, which every wish you make will be twisted upon you to become evil and harmful to you? Likewise, are you in a Monkey's Paw scenario? Are you in a D&D, the wish is literally told to the GM to be twisted by their interpretation? Like, if we're in an evil wish scenario, like even genies, are supposed to twist your wishes. So if Kyobi, as I've said, Kyobi's a predator, I see Kyobi as probably the evil. That's why in the board, the character relationship board down here, they have all these red lines attached to them. So, I don't know, maybe that's the wish. Maybe, right? Maybe the wish is to know everything. Because if you know everything, you can act with information. Like, for example, if you know everything, and Kyobi is the bad guy, you would also know how to defeat Kyobi, right? But then again, what's the twisting of a knowing everything wish, knowing everything and being unable to do anything? Like, sorry, all the examples coming to my head are just too dark. I don't want to go through my own real life situations. But yeah. Again, it's the problem that every time in media a wish gets granted, something bad happens. If you know everything and now you know what you wish you should have done, I think you would be pretty sad. There's a funny... I'm going to wrap up on this thought process. I'm going to wrap up on this process with like one anecdote about a video series I enjoy watching, and then we're going to get into the episode. I can't remember the names, like Chris and Jack or something like that. They do comedy YouTube sketches, and it's literally guy has a genie's lamp, and he goes to make a wish, and the very first wish is for the genie to tell him how he would corrupt every wish that the guy would make, and it's just a back and forth about how petty the genie is, and trying to formulate the perfect wish. But of course, the premise there doesn't work here because that is a genie scenario where you have 3 wishes. QB only grants you 1. So, it is the idea there. If you knew everything and you knew what the perfect wish was, you wouldn't have the chance to wish it. Anyway, again, as has been indicated by Fail Fisher also in the chat, maybe don't think about it too hard just yet. Even though, technically, I have a notepad full of notes from the last 3 episodes. Literally thinking about it too hard is what I'm doing. That said, though, that is the comment response, that is the board, that is the notes, so there's nothing left to do but to hop on into it.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
I guess technically there's nothing left of Mammy, right? Or apparently that violinist guy.
あら、上条くんのお見舞い？ごめんなさいね。診察の予定が繰り上がって今ちょうどリハビリ室なの。
そうでしたか。どうも。
Oh, okay, because last episode they said that they weren't able to see them.
来てくれるわよね、あの子。
助かるわ。
Thought maybe something had
患者
happened.
さんだしね。励ましになってくれてるといいんだけど。
事故に遭う前は天才少年だったんでしょ、バイオリンの。
歩けるようになったとしても指の方はね、もう二度と楽器を弾くなんて無理でしょうね。
As per what I said in my notes. You know, before I corrected myself thinking that was her mother before.
私の指なんていくら動いてたって何の役にも立たないのに、なんで私じゃなくて京介なの。もしも私の願い事で京介の体が治ったとして、それを京介はどう思うの？ありがとうって言われてそれだけ？それともそれ以上のことを言ってほしいの？
I mean, that was the whole conversation Mammy was giving you about not knowing how somebody else could take that sort of thing.
まだ何も分かっていなかった。奇跡を望む意味もその代償も。
Again, the element at play here is not knowing what a wish does beyond the element of what the wish is meant to do, right? Because again, it very much feels like there's a situation here that a wish has a cost beyond what you know. You know, beyond the whole magical girl thing and being involved in what appears to be a war against wishes. I mean, witches. I'm gonna keep messing that one up. So, I mean, technically, you have to pay that cost while the other person reaps the reward. I suppose there's an element there of the social cost of things, right? The social cost of resentment that you are now forever locked in a struggle against fighting witches, you know, in a life or death for the rest of your life, while the other person moves on to live a happy life, conceivably forgetting about you if the whole Mammy thing is to be believed. You know, that she doesn't have time for friends or love or anything like that. That she didn't have anybody to even talk to. Gyobi is cute, that mean, you could trust him. You're pushing too hard. You're pushing too hard, now you're making me think that I am 100% right. I tell you, if something happens to this family, I am gonna be angry.
まどか、おお、さっさと食べないと遅刻だぞ。
I mean, technically she is just a schoolgirl that's witnessed death.
まずかったかな。
美味しいの。すごく美味しい。生きてるとパパのご飯がこんなに美味しい。
Yeah, how the fuck do you explain this?
でもって言うかったらさ、それだけ言ってもまだ気づかないのよ。え、何？私また変なこと言ったとか半べそになっちゃって、こっちはもう笑いこらえるのに必死でさ。さやかちゃん、昨日のこと。ごめん、今はやめよう。また後で。
I mean, somebody in the third year is gonna notice someone's missing.
出産適齢期というのは医学的根拠に基づくものですが、そこからの逆算で根拠を見積もることは大きな間違いなんですね。つまり、
But I guess to be fair, she did live alone.
恋愛結婚のチャンスがあるのは当然のことですから、したがってここは過去完了形ではなく現在進行形を使うのが正解。
There we have it. Akemi does fucking care. Unfortunately, they've stepped up into like an enemy appearance. So it's not like she can do anything about it. I mean, you just saw some girl get her head ripped off her body. To answer that previous question, that's one reason why I wouldn't make that wish.
私
I could not fight in that world.
今思い出しただけで息ができなくなっちゃうの。怖いよ。嫌だよ。
I do love it when characters are honest with themselves and they actually express their emotions.
どういう覚悟が
When a character says, I hate this, I at least appreciate that we have that insight into their emotional state.
ねえキューベ、この町どうなっちゃうのかな。マミさんの代わりにこれから誰がみんなを魔女から守ってくれるんだろう。長らくここはマミのテリトリーだったけど、空席になれば他の魔法少女が黙ってないよ。すぐにも他の子が魔女狩りのためにやってくる。でもそれってグリーフシード
Didn't automatically say Akemi though.
あの転校生みたいに。確かにマミみたいなタイプは珍しい。
Like, Akemi is here.
普通はちゃんと損得を考えるよ。誰だって報酬は欲しいさ。じゃあでもそれを非難できるとしたら、それは同じ魔法少女としての運命を背負った子だけじゃないかな。
Gilby specifically says, I can't pressure you,
君たちの気持ちは分かった。
and is explicitly pressuring you.
自由はできない。お別れだね。僕はまた僕との契約を必要としている子を探しに行かないと。ごめんねキューベ。こっちこそ巻き込んですまなかった。
Like I said, not for nothing,
だけどありがとう。一緒にいて楽しかったよ。
but that seal to the labyrinth very much also looked like a Gilby's figure.
ごめんね。
Why is there fresh tea poured? I guess technically they could have gotten her from home
私怖い子でごめんなさい。
on her way to the hospital, I mean.
ホムラちゃん。あなたは自分を責めすぎているわ。要まどか。あなたを非難できる者なんて誰もいない。いたら私が許さない。
I mean, I put this all to Mammy's fault, really.
聞き入れてくれたのね。
She's the one that stopped Akemi from going in to do it herself.
私がもっと早くにホムラちゃんの言うことを聞いてたら。それで巴まみの運命が変わったわけじゃないわ。でもあなたの運命は変えられた。一人が救われただけでも私は嬉しい。ホムラちゃんはさ、
Again, it all comes back to me for whatever the hell was happening in that very first scene from episode 1.
そうよ。何人くらい数えるのを諦めるほどに。あの部屋ずっとあのままなのかな。巴マミには遠い親戚しか身寄りがいないわ。失踪届が出るのはまだ当分先でしょうね。
Well, even then, someone's gonna stop paying for the room. Money will be the real instigator of change there.
死体だって残らない。こちらの世界では彼女は永遠に行方不明者のまま。魔法少女の最後なんてそういうものよ。
Well, I guess it really helps to what Mamie said about not being able to find love or friends or anything like that. That way, if you just go missing.
みんなのためにずっと一人ぼっちで戦ってきた人なのに、誰にも気づいてもらえないなんて、そんなの寂しすぎるよ。そういう契約で私たちはこの力を手に入れたの。誰のためでもない。自分自身の祈りのために戦い続けるのよ。誰にも気づかれなくて、忘れ去られても。それは仕方ない。
It does very much put the whole psychological tint on this whole thing.
マミさんのこと忘れない。絶対に。そう。そう言ってもらえるだけ、巴マミは幸せよ。羨ましいほどだわ。大村ちゃんだって、大村ちゃんのことだ。
I was about to say, nobody fucking thinks about a Kemi.
絶対忘れたりしないもん。大村ちゃん、あなたは優しすぎる。忘れないで。その優しさがもっと大きな悲しみを呼び寄せることもあるのよ。
I believe Sayaka is going to be the representation of that. Sayaka wants to sacrifice everything for her friend in the hospital. It very much feels like that's going to bring forth sadness and sacrifice.
何を聞いてるの？
甘色の髪の乙女。
ああ、ドビュッシー？素敵な曲だよね。私ってほら、こんなだからさ、クラシックなんて聞く柄じゃないだろってみんなが思うみたいでさ、たまに曲名とか言い当てたらすごい驚かれるんだよね。意外すぎて尊敬されたりしてさ。京介が教えてくれたから。でなきゃ私、こういう音楽ちゃんと聴こうと思う。
I feel like you really should be having a conversation about that possibility of a wish to see what they feel about it. So about that conversation, I feel like she's just gonna do something on her own.
なんで今でもまだ僕に音楽なんか聴かせるんだ。嫌がらせのつもりなのか。
だって京介音楽好きだから。
もう聴きたくなんかないんだよ。自分で弾けもしない曲、ただ聴いてるだけなんて。僕は
Oh, rough.
動かないんだ。もう痛みさえ感じない。こんな手なんて。
So nerve damage then.
きっとなんとかなるよ。諦めなければきっといつか。
諦めろって言われたのさ。
What fucking doctors are you visiting?
もう演奏は諦めろってさ。先生から直々に言われたよ。今の医学じゃ無理だって。僕の手はもう二度と動かない。奇跡か魔法でもない限り治らない。
Well, very weird that you just fucking said that out of nowhere.
魔法もあるんだよ。
Oh yeah, like a fucking predator. Like I fucking said that he was. Kyobi. Also, fucking horrible doctors. In that position, knowing the patient's wishes, they should have referred you to another specialist. That said, give the fuck up.
今日はお稽古事はあれあの時の人と同じひとみちゃんねひとみちゃんってばあらかなめさんごきげんようどうしちゃったのねえどこ行こうとしてたのどこってそれはここよりもずっといい場所ですわひとみちゃんああそうだかなめさんもぜひご一緒にそうですわそれが素晴らしいですわ
Is this a dream? I mean, to be fair, we don't know a lot about Hitomi. Is Hitomi a wish? I mean, a witch? God damn, why do I keep saying wish instead of witch? Oh no, it's the witch wish. Damn it. I'm doing it all over them. The witch thing. Like when that woman was gonna jump off the roof and kill herself.
携帯の番号わかんない
そうだよ。俺、ダメなんだ。
So maybe it's the same witch as before
満足に切り盛りできなかった。
that almost had that other woman kill herself.
時代にさ、俺の居場所なんてあるわけねえんだよな。
いいかマドカこの手のものには扱いを間違えるととんでもないことになるものもある私ら家族全員あの世行きだ絶対に間違えんなよ
Are they gonna, like, poison the air in this room?
邪魔をしてはいけませんあれは神聖な儀式ですのだってあれ危ないんだよここにいる人たちみんな死ん
I mean, kudos for Madoka for remembering all of this.
みんなで素晴らしい世界へ旅に出ますのそれがどんなに素敵なことかわかりませんか生きてる体なんて邪魔なだけですわかなめさんあなたもすぐにわかりますから
I thought you would have just kicked it over. Yeah, it wasn't until they defeated the other witch that the woman that was going to kill herself woke up again. So I don't know what you could do here to wake these people up. It's other than making a wish, but you don't want to do that. Again, for me, the witch space always feels like a fucking LSD trip. No idea what's ever happening in these. Again, it just feels like another form of the last seal that we saw at the hospital.
罰なのかなこれってきっと私が弱虫で嘘つきだったから罰が当たっちゃ
So this witch is actively referring back to the events of the fight of the last witch? Well, She went and done it. I only imagine that Sayaka is going to die before the end of the show, too. She wasn't in episode 1, I don't recall. The episode 1 flash forward thing.
いやごめんごめん危機一髪ってとこだったね
さやかちゃんその格好
んああまあ何心境の変化っていうのかな大丈夫だって初めてにしちゃうまくやったでしょ私
But again, is the violinist going to be happier for you having done this?
遅かったじゃない転校生
That's right, I had a note about that. The fact that she is a transfer student from a Christian school. Because they cover this as Mami's territory. So her appearance here was already invading Mami's territory.
まさか君が来るとはねマミのやつがくたばったって聞いたからさわざわざ出向いてやったってのになんなのよちょっと話が違うんじゃない悪いけどこの土地にはもう新しい魔法少女がいるんだついさっき契約したばかりだ
Alright, new character.
何それ超ムカつくでもさこんな絶好の縄張りミスミスルーキーのひよこにくれてやるってのも尺だよ
Why is it a great
どう
area?
するつもりだい京子決まってんじゃん要するにぶっ潰しちゃえばいいんでしょその子
You always gotta be worried about the people who can rotate their necks a full 90 degrees to the side while just sitting straight up. Yeah. As I said, Kilby is a fucking predator. How? I don't know, maybe it's an aspect of watching anime for as long as I've been watching anime, but it's always the cutesy looking things that are dangerous. Also, I think it's a rule of anime that the smaller you are, the more powerful you actually tend to be. And again, I'm assuming everybody that Madoka is walking past in these ending credits are people that are going to die, and it very much seems like Akemi is one of them, you know, reaching out for her. But, as per the idea that we're in some sort of time loop, again, might not be. Maybe the first episode thing was just a flash forward to the final thing. I guess proof of that will come if Madoka never makes a wish. Like, if we get to that final element, and Madoka never makes a wish, and then makes a wish there, I guess that could be the thing. At the same time, though, I don't know. The element that we're introducing a new character here at the end of episode 4 exits the realm of it just being Kyobi, I feel like.
舞い上がっちゃってますね私これからの三滝原市の平和はこの魔法少女さやかちゃんがガンガン守りまくっちゃいますからね後悔なんてあるわけない
You won, you don't say, I will never regret it, because you're just opening the floodgates for regret. Again, I'm not happy that Sayaka made the wish. 2, I feel like we're gonna get the violinist is going to... Something is gonna happen there. What did I say earlier in the episode? That what might happen is the psychological separation, where she has to now focus on fighting witches and familiars from now on, and he is going to move on to be a successful violinist again, and separate from her essentially, or forget her, or whatever. Or I guess, let's see how dark this show has gotten recently. Maybe he'll fucking kill himself, right? maybe he has gone so far over the deep end with I hate music and I can't do anything anymore that now having it back will just put him into a dark place, and essentially her wish will have been for nothing. That, or the dark suspicion in the back of my head, is that the wishes are now themselves things that keep the magical girls trapped. Except, I don't know, that doesn't really work for Mammy, because it seems like she wished to stay alive. So if she was fighting to stay alive, then the twist on her wish that she died, I don't know. Again, the idea to me that if you wish for somebody else, that you have to keep fighting to keep that wish alive. Maybe that's the element of the grief seed. That the element of your wish has to keep being refreshed, so you have to keep fighting to refresh your soul gem. And by pulling the darkness out of the soul gem, it keeps your wish alive. Like, maybe you have to keep doing that. Maybe that's the thing. So if Sayaka fails to keep fighting witches and familiars, that what's his name will lose his hands again or something. I don't know. I am literally just spitballing ideas at the wall here. I have no idea, but I like to throw even random ideas out there just in case it comes to. Because if I don't make any guesses, one, less interesting of a watch through, but if I don't make any guesses at all, then I can't be right about anything in the future, right? Miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I just very much feel like these are not the actions of a good character, which is to say, Kyobi, I don't think is a good guy. The fact he only shows up where people are suffering, that's, I mean, granted, you can say some people do that because they go out of their way to find people that are suffering to help them. But I feel like when you have godlike omnipotent power to grant wishes, that you could just help people. And Kyobi is very much, let me help you dig your own grave kind of situation. So, yeah, I mean, those are my thoughts here. I think very much a lot of what's happened in this episode has come to pass the way that I've said things about in my previous note sections, so I'm not too shocked about it. Again, mainly my standouts here are the fact that everyone keeps disregarding Akemi. Like, no one even... There is a lot of Akemi is not even brought up in people's first thoughts, even though she is literally a magical girl on scene. And I think that's a bit weird. It's either a bit weird or insulting to Akemi, but again, my artist drew me as a male version of Akemi, so maybe I'm just attached now. Maybe that's where my investment now lies. Anyway, I think I'm kind of a bit on a ramble, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for this episode. So once again, I have been Theta, this has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?